Hello, 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 and happy Thursday. It is Women's History Month, and whoop, 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 we are doing a very special broadcast here on Girl Your Money Matters, affectionately known as The Gym, where we have all sorts of exercises to help you get financially fit. I am your host, the Nicole Johnson, and I want to welcome you and tell you just how excited I am about you joining us here tonight. What's up, DJ Tony?
Hey, happy Women's Month.
Yes, 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 yes. We are so excited to be here tonight because all month long we are celebrating women who are doing exactly what I'm teaching and sharing with you. Sometimes we find it hard to believe that we can achieve a goal until we've seen someone else do it. And it kind of gives us that inspiration and motivation that we need. So, tonight's guest is a boo from a boo from a boo, and who I love so, so much. Tony, you know, they say that behind every great man is a great woman. Well, behind every great entrepreneur, there is an even better support system that helps them stay great, right? And so
Amen.
you have
Amen.
some people who enjoy being behind the scenes, making all the things work, right? Making sure that your emails go out, making sure your automation is on point, making sure your numbers, just all things business. But what
Yes.
I love the most about our guest tonight is that she is a mom, right? I've watched her son grow up on social media, right? It's
Oh,
every year it's the boy, the boy, the boy, the boy. Well, now he is officially the college student, and I'm like, where did the time go? But she's also doing an amazing thing because some women out there, and I'm just going to say it, they want to fire their boss, right? And in order to do that, you got to make a lot of changes with your mindset, your relationship with your money. And you know, for me, it's all about better money management and how to budget so you can stay off that 9 to 5. Well, tonight's guest has been doing it for some time because I've known her for some time. And by the time we met, she was already full fledged into the flow. So I am going to bring up the empress of it all. Did you hear what I said? The empress of it all, Miss Twanna Gill. Hey,
Oh, how exciting! The empress of it all. I love it. I love it.
hey,
I love it.
the empress of it all.
the
Okay,
Empress.
okay.
Mm.
Tawana, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I am happy to be here.
Yes, I am excited to have you here. Listen, one of the things that a lot of women are struggling with, right? You have already overcome that hump. So we just gonna jump right on into it. We just gonna jump
Let's
right
jump
on
in.
to it and share with us what made you leave. What was the proverbial straw? That proverbial, you know what, what's not gonna happen no more. What was the straw that made you say bye bye 9 to 5?
Well, they kicked me out.
Oh, that'll do it.
I mean,
Yeah, that pretty
you
much
know
do it.
that'll do it. So, I yeah. So they kicked me out at the beginning of what we now call the Great Recession. Um, I lost my job,
Mm.
and on paper, I should be able to get any job I want. So I feel like, and so it is written, I have these degrees, I have this experience. But at the time, no one was hiring because we were in a recession. So it's like, what do you do?
Right.
And I'd always had dreams of entrepreneurship, not this business though. That's the thing. I had dreams of having a record studio. I had dreams of all kinds of stuff that has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now.
Mm.
And when I started my journey, actually started with an online bookstore. Okay.
Oh, what
And I did. I started my entrepreneur journey with an online bookstore geared towards African American kids because
Go
I'm
ahead, girl.
a mom of a little black boy that I wanted him to love reading like I loved reading. And the only way I felt like that was going to happen is if I found stories with faces like his.
now? All
Amen.
right.
And I decided to curate. So I was trying out the drop shipping thing before it had a name,
Okay.
and all of that. But the thing was, I didn't know what I didn't know. So I was terrible at it. Absolutely,
Mm,
positively terrible, terrible, terrible. So I did all the things that I know that you would have screamed at me about if you knew me. So I lost my job. I had a house, I have a kid, I had a 401k. And so what do? Go
dipped
into my
in it.
401k, not
Mhm.
just to survive, but then also to fund this dream that I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
So this is when you thought YouTube University was amazing because you didn't even know how to go find other resources. All you
Mm-hmm.
had was the internet,
Right.
and it was bad. It was bad. I listened to the whole build a website. They will come, create a Facebook page. They will come, and I think then it might have just been Facebook. I don't think the rest of them were even out here yet,
Right.
right? Nobody
Right.
came, kept throwing good money after bad, and in the process of it all, I ran into someone who needed my help doing some administrative tasks. And I said, I could do that. No problem. And then that kept happening. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I ran into this lady at Staples. I'll never forget. She asked me what I was doing. And I was having something printed for my son's pre K. And she said, do you know that there are nonprofits and small business owners who need help like yours, but cannot hire a full time person? What would you think about selling packages of hours to
Mm.
people for these services? Okay. I mean, I have nothing else to do, right?
Right.
That's how I came into the virtual assistant space. Like, really just helping people. That's how I ended up here. And we've kept evolving ever since. But that bookstore, it was my baby. That was a part of when you hear people talk about find your passion and make your passion profitable. My
Mm-hmm.
passion bankrupted me. Like, it took my money. Like, my passion drained me. That was
Mhm.
not a good
Yeah.
idea. And I had a friend who was really honest with me. He asked me one day, he said, Twanna, how much money are you making with this business? And when I told him, he said, oh, he said, so that's not a business, that's a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And so you need to decide what you're going to do. If you're going to have a hobby, that's great, call it what it is. And if you're going to have a business, you're going to have to change a whole bunch of stuff about what you're doing, how you're doing it, the support you need, go find it, all of those things. So that's how we
Well,
get here,
listen,
Nicole.
that's how we got here. And that is really some of the most important information that we don't hear very often.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we go any further, let's do some station identification. We are here live on the Brownstone Worldwide and KCCR Radio, where the founder and owner is Paulette, your girl Paulette, and the theme and the goal of our all of the on-air personalities is to help change the narrative of our Black and Brown communities. My concept is if it's being told wrong in the next 50 years, it's our fault. Okay, it's our fault. And in recognizing that this is Women's History Month, we will be honoring and spotlighting women who, now we've got some historical women that have paved the way for us to be able to sit here today. And we give all the honor and glory to them for paving the way for us. We're going to spend some time recognizing the women who are making a way for those generations to come after us, right? We've got to we've got to talk about them today. So, Tawana, you talked about that passion, because I hear it all the time. We got into what are the people asking you for, not necessarily what you thought your passion was, right? So we had to
Mm-hmm.
move, we had to shift, right? As a business owner,
Yeah. If
you
we wanted to
start
make
out with
money, we needed to shift.
hello, that part right there, that part. So do me a
Yeah.
favor, go ahead and tell the people what it is that you do now, and let's get a little bit past the accidental staples in environment, and let's talk a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more about how you stay off the 9 to 5.
Okay. So right now, I help entrepreneurs move from ideas to implementation. So I help people get stuff done. I help people create
Mhm.
client experiences that create a brand cohesiveness, if you will, um, so that people keep coming back. So that's all the things behind the scenes. Like you said, we do the email automations, website development, sales funnel development. I talk people through strategy. I do what I call a little business therapy, where I talk people off the ledge, right? So
All
all
right
the
now.
things it takes to keep you encouraged and motivated to move forward. Because going back to when I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And so I've learned things along the way, and I use those things and I shared them. I have a background in project management, and so when I started out, I realized that I was using those principles of project management to help people run their businesses. And so that's what I use. I use the project management and my love of systems, have a little bit of a techie background, marry those together, and you get me, the empress of all things. Um, and so to stay off the 9 to 5, because right now my lifestyle just does not really work for 9 to 5. Like I need to be able to
Mhm.
move when I want to move. I need to be able to do what I want to do. Um, I have to always be accepting of evolving. So the
Mhm.
business itself has taken a lot of different twists and turns over these almost 10 years that I've been official, right? On paper with the state. So it's been almost 10 years. And I have learned to give the people more of what they want. And sometimes you have to wrap up their needs in their wants, right? So it's kind of
Yeah.
like when we're thinking about our diets, and people are telling you you have to eat this, you have to eat that, but the only way that it's going to taste good, the only way you're going to digest it is if you pair it with something else, if you mix it with something else so you can hide the taste. We have to do that with our service offerings or the things that we are putting out into the universe, so that we're giving the people the things that they need, so it's feeding their business, but it's also wrapped them in what they thought they wanted in the first place.
Ooh, child, she's speaking to all my inner entrepreneurship, all of it.
Mm.
So, and the reason that these all these things that you're sharing is important because entrepreneurs have to understand that there's an ugly side.
Always.
There's an ugly side.
Always.
There's a side that some people won't tell you. And if you're just joining us, you missed the part. I want you to go back to the beginning and listen, because she specifically said I was throwing good money away.
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 You know what I'm
Away.
saying?
Like as
Good
in
money in bad
no more
situations.
401k plan throw away. Like
Throwing
Mm.
I was
money
like, oh my
away.
God.
And
Yeah.
when you are at that juncture where you're deciding, is this a good business venture? Is this something that I should do? Traditionally, we didn't have people speaking on this topic. Okay. And people have what they see are the Joneses standing up front with all of the glitz and glamour. Sometimes, as what we have seen lately, the glitz and glamour ain't even theirs. The young
It
lady
ain't.
over to the little expensive car shop, I would have never thought about doing that. She done went to the car shop, she done posed with the car and sat on the car, changed her clothes and all this stuff, and the car dealership and put a post out there to like, this ain't hers, and she need to stop using our stuff.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't even invite her in. She didn't even ask to be here.
Right, she ain't filled out no kind of application. She ain't done a test drive. Ain't showed us no driver's license.
She did
We
not
knew
do the
what she
work.
was doing, coming out the bathroom, changing her clothes up in our facility. Who you fronting for? So we're
Right.
chasing somebody else's imaginary dream.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put that part together, because see, that's her dream of what she wants to do, but she's put it out here as if it's hers for real, as if she really got the bag. And then someone who doesn't have somebody like Twanna in their ear saying, "Baby, that don't do that, don't try that don't you can't you?"
Because I will say it. Don't do that.
And
Don't do
she
that. That's
has
not for
told
you.
me,
That's for them.
Nicole, and she has a good friend who is definitely someone who teaches on fractured focus. fracture focus. You can't do, see, resumes used to say multitask. I can multitask with the best. No, ma'am, you got fracture focus. We need to prioritize our deadlines. We need to
Yes.
manage the priorities. Ain't that right, Twanna? Manage the
Yeah,
project. Okay.
you got to manage the priorities. And if people are real with themselves, none of us are good multitaskers. We're just not. Our brains aren't designed to do that, right? So it's one thing to say I have these blocks of time. So for this hour, I'm going to respond to emails and follow up people. For this hour, I'm going to do those things. Our brains can work with that. But that back and forth, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, nothing gets finished. So now you have all of these little projects and it's a mess, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing like when you're cleaning up your house. You can decide to say, hey, I'm going to clean up the living room. Or if you get sidetracked, you go take something from the living room, you go put it in the bedroom. Then you say, oh my gosh, let me make up the bed. Well, before I make up the
I'm
bed,
gonna
let me
need
do
you to
this.
get out
Let
my
me do
house.
that.
Get out. Get out. Get out.
I mean, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. And then you look up, it's nighttime, the living room not clean, the bed still ain't made, like nothing
You
was
got piles
accomplished.
in
You have
every
all these things you
room.
start. Right. And now you're sad, you're frustrated because you can't mark anything off of your list.
Yeah.
And for those of us who have goals and are driven, not being able to mark stuff off our list, it's
Ooh.
like a gut punch every day.
Yeah.
It
It
makes you
is.
In the
feel some type
throat.
of way. Like there is a joy to putting that red pen through something. Say I
Woo!
am done.
Celebration.
There's joy in
Uh,
that.
That's a celebration time. That's when you do your
I mean,
rocking
And
dance.
really,
when you get to
it
the
really is.
last one, and you can just say, "Phew, phew, done."
It is finished.
It's a
Yeah.
sense of accomplishment. And so, one of the things that I know that a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, um, they struggle with trying to find, and this is even for those who are not entrepreneurs, they're wanting to be an entrepreneur, work life balance. They struggle with work life balance. And then add the layer of lack of money management and money discipline. So now they're all over the place. Like the money is going out, it's not coming in. The bills are looking at me and I'm looking at them. We trying to see who gonna flinch first, and I'm losing every time. But then I got the kids over here and they need help with homework and laundry and all of these things are competing for their attention. When you had those situations, how did you, one, balance the work and life, because you are a mom, and then how did you manage the finances so that you did not revert back to a 9 to 5?
Okay. So not only am I a mom, but I'm a caregiver
Mm,
of both of my parents at
mm,
times. And what I had to do is define what work life balance meant to me. What it looks
yes.
like for everybody else is not what it looks like for me. So I think that's the
Hmm.
first thing is understanding what does that really look like for you. For me, it was finally giving myself the grace to say, I'm not going to be great in all of my roles today. So which role do I want to show up in? Right?
Mm.
So I'm going to be a great mom today. That may mean I'm not answering all my emails for business. That may mean some other things are missing because I'm showing up as a mom. On those days that I'm like, okay, I'm laser focused on the business, that probably means we ordering pizza that day. Like you're not getting a home cooked meal that day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not gonna, I can't do all of those things. And once I gave myself the permission to define what that looks like for me and do that on a daily basis, I started to feel better. Then I didn't feel
Okay.
like I was losing at everything because I've decided the win today is to show up in the business. The win today was I'm taking my parents to all these doctor's appointments. And if I can't get to these other things, it's okay because I'm showing up as a daughter today. So I think that's first, right? Is understanding what those things are that are competing against your time, and then figure out, okay, if you still have a 9 to 5, right? So from basically from 7 to 7, you're
Six
something
thirty to
entangled
3.
with that job. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
because you gotta think about the commute time. It's the getting ready time. Then it's actually coming home, unwinding, so you can take off the job hat and
And
put
put
on
on.
the entrepreneur hat, the mom
Entrepreneur
hat, the wife
hat.
hat, all those
Right.
different hats. You gotta figure out which one fits today. So that understanding that and knowing that, okay, this probably means I have a good 3-4 hours tops a day for my business based on what your other obligations are. And it may not be the same every day. Some days it may be
Right.
2, some days it may be none, and that's okay. I am not a fan of team no sleep. I am not on that team. I go to bed early.
Yeah, you gotta
Uh,
have that rest.
Wait a minute.
I just
Wait. Not only do she go to bed, she go to
She
bed
said early.
early.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
if you see me up doing work at 11 o'clock or midnight, you should be concerned. Like, are you okay? Like, that's when you send me a message saying, something
Right.
happened.
Say,
Like,
girl.
what's going on?
What's
That's
going
not my
on?
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Right.
that is not my thing. That is not a normal cycle for me, right? For other
Mhm.
people, their brains are like on fire. But I know that I get my best work done in the morning. So I much rather get up at 6 and get to work than stay up. So I think that is the first. The first thing is understanding what it's going to take to make you happy with the balances of all the things that you need to do, and then with the finances, right? So one, you have to understand what your absolute bills are, whatever they are, and then once you start your business, learning your revenue cycles, which is why I talk a lot about those KPIs and all those things.
Yeah.
Because
That's
once
Yeah.
you
good.
start
You can
working in
start
your
speaking a
business,
whole
you'll
nother
know.
language.
Oh, stop it. You've heard me speak this language before. But but once you know, if you know in your business, hey, it slows down in the summer because people are off with their families, they're doing these other things. Then you're like, okay, now I know those other months I need to save for those, the feast months are great, but the famine months you need to save for that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I try to pay attention to that all the time. Like, I know personally, summertime, not a good time. Now I know first quarter and fourth quarter is gonna be popping all the time. Second and third, it's kind of iffy. And then I have always understood the importance of keeping my finances separate. So
Mm-hmm.
even before I had an official business account and I was just working with PayPal is where all the invoices went to. That's where all that money went. It did not go into my personal account. And then I would pay myself out of that. And I paid myself a percentage. At the
Mhm.
time, I would pay myself 50% of everything I made because I understand I got to pay taxes,
Right.
got to do all these other things to run the business.
Right.
50% was mine, 50% belongs to the business. Now I do it a little differently and I just pay myself a standard salary. So
Okay.
I can still keep those things in check
In
with,
shape.
because
Right.
now I have enough time in the business. I can say, okay, I should make about this much this year. So I can pay myself this amount every month to cover those months where I'm not making as much money.
Okay. Ooh, listen. You done went all into what I tell my clients and my community. You have to know how much is coming in so that you can know what you can spend out. For our teachers who don't get paid during the summer months, we have extra savings that we do during, as you call it, the feast. So that the summer months, which would be your famine, because that income is not coming in, and they don't always want to go and get a summer job, right? They deal with other people's children for 9, 10 months out of the
If
year.
I was them, I wouldn't want a summer job
Listen,
either.
I don't
I
even
want
I
to
don't
stay
even
home
know
by
how they want
myself.
to come back the next year, but that's a topic for another story
Right.
another time.
Bless them.
Absolutely. So, the 2 weeks off for Christmas break, the spring break, ma'am, I can teach every other year. I'm gonna teach in 2000, not 2001, 2002, half of 2004, and none of 2003. Because cheering and cheering and their parents, and it ain't always in that
And
order.
their
But
parents.
one of my clients now, we are in Operation Mortgage Payoff. right? We're in
Okay.
Operation Mortgage Payoff. She has to December of 2024 to pay off the amount left on her mortgage, and it's under 20 grand. Okay, so
Nice.
we have a target that we're aiming for. I don't know how you put
Mhm.
that in KPI language, but we looked at how much is coming in for the next, until then, what the interest
Mhm.
rate is. We've done the amortization schedule so that we can see how much comes off every month, even with calculating the interest, so that we know that it's not a stretch for her to reach 2024, but she's got a couple of side hustles that bring in X number of dollars. We didn't even calculate how much is going to that. So any of that is surplus. Any of that is surplus. So what I'm hearing is the start of the business came out of a need.
Absolutely.
It came
Absolutely.
out of a need. And what I want the audience to understand, hey, Leanne is our self-care strategist. So when you talked about the work-life balance and being able to say, okay, today I'm going to show up as a mom and the business going to be on hold. Tomorrow I'm showing up as a daughter. The kid going to have to grab what's in the refrigerator and the business going to have to wait. Now the business gets the attention and mom and dad are okay and the kid going to have to get what's in the refrigerator. That made her happy because those are boundaries. That is recognizing that my S for Superwoman, she retired. She on TV. She's if she in my house is because the TV is on. But as far as I'm concerned,
Mhm.
homegirl is retired, and what we not gonna do is all of those things. I'm gonna be a Proverbs
Can't do
31
them.
woman, but I'm gonna do one thing at a time on this day. Today I'm Proverb 31, but one. I'm gonna do one of
Right.
them things well.
One thing is super. Look, and you will be super amazing when you focus like that. When you
You
give yourself
absolutely, because when you
permission.
can just this, and when you clean it up so well, it can hold its own for a long time to give you time to focus on the other stuff. Leanne says, when do you
Mhm.
make you a priority in your life? Because that's always her thing. When are you making yourself a priority? So
Well,
Tawana,
So
we're gonna veer off a little bit. What do you
okay.
do for relaxation? And honey, I'm almost jealous because I know some of it. But go ahead, share with the people. Share it with the people.
So anybody who knows me knows I love music. Music runs my life. So if there's a good concert coming to town, I am there. It makes me happy. Music makes me happy. Um, I enjoy my girlfriend time, right? And so some days I'm showing up as a girlfriend. I'm not showing up for anybody else. And that means, that's going to be some Saturday, Sunday brunches. It's going to be some walks through the mall. It's going to be all of those fun things. And then sometimes I'm just going to sit in my room and I'm going to turn on my favorite Ratchet reality shows. And that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna have some Chinese food in my bed, and I'm gonna watch Ratchet TV until I can't take it anymore, and that makes me happy. Those are things that allow me to unwind, and I'm not thinking about the next thing that I need to be doing, but instead just being in the moment.
And now you left one thing out.
What I leave out? Oh, now I love a good trip now. When I can find my way out of town, I am I don't do it enough, but I'm working on that. But yes, I love to travel. I love to get away because for sure I'm not working then. Like you all will always
Yeah,
get an email that says, "Hey,
I've
I'm gonna be
seen a
out."
few of them little girlfriend trips when we need a passport, honey. When we needed the passport, I was
Look,
like,
collecting stamps. So
and
one of my
then I
past
love
times is I'm a stamp
Paulette is in
collector.
Paulette Yvette. our founder and CEO of the Brownstone Worldwide, who makes this opportunity available for all of us, and a former and founding member of Arrested Development. Since you brought up music, makes you happy.
Makes me happy.
Okay,
That's
let
what
me.
makes
I
me
went
happy
in
in
there.
this
I went
music.
in there. Let me keep my day job. Let me keep my day job. But you know, I'm gonna take a nap too. I'm gonna get me a good nap, give me a good, and you know what? I love a good power nap, right? A lot of people can't power nap. I can
I
power nap.
can't.
So at one point in my, oh child, let me tell you, I
Can't
went
do
and
it.
had a sleep study done because they were concerned about some other things. And the next morning, the technician said, "Ma'am, do you remember getting comfortable?" I said, "Why?" She said, "Your sleep registry said you were in deep sleep within 2 minutes and 2 seconds."
Now, because I do this Fitbit thing, I go to deep sleep real fast, but I cannot take a nap. Even if I want to take a nap, I cannot nap.
Listen,
It's a.
so
I don't know how y'all do it.
I
I'm
guess
kind of
I'm
jealous.
making, I
Girl,
guess
I
I'm
nap on
making
you
up for
right
the
now.
nap. I'm making up for the naps I didn't take in pre-K.
For real.
Well,
I'll
maybe
sit
I
up
took
on
too
you
many
right now
then.
and nap.
This little thing right here, it's got about 20 alarms. When I take a power nap, I have back to back to make sure I get up. So I do get up, okay, and we get in there. But I sometimes I can eat lunch while I work, and then I get in there and can and Paulette says she can take a power nap in her chair.
Oh, yeah.
I
In her
wish. I'm
chair.
jealous of
Yeah.
all
So
of you
Yeah.
because I cannot nap, but I also can't do those
listen,
alarms either. I can't do an alarm at all. That messes up my energy. It just throws me off. Like I'm gonna be angry all day because I need to wake up on my own gradually. I need to ease into the day.
so I can't do that. I actually have, so if I have to be 6:30 at my workstation, my alarm starts going off at 5:40. And I will snooze for 10 minutes every time. And then but that last one, by 6:10 is getting loud. And by
Oh
6:20 it's so
no.
loud. I'm like, okay. But usually between 6:10 and 6:19, I'm gonna get up because I don't want to hear the last one. I don't want. I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear. It's gonna make me mad. Yeah, it's gonna worm my nerves. So I'm up. But this has been. I've learned a lot already. Just understanding how sometimes life changes. That's the only consistent thing in life is change. And sometimes it's a welcomed change. Sometimes it's changed whether you welcome it or not. It's here. So when companies lay off, um, and let go. They downsize. I was telling people long before the pandemic happened that um, these jobs ain't loyal. And the pandemic brought it home for us, right? It
Amen.
brought it
Yes, it
home
did.
for us. So, Tony, I want you to jump in based on what Twanna has shared thus far. What are some of your thoughts?
Well, man, she been dropping so many pearls and gems, man. I'm like, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, now I can add this to my repertoire. You know what I'm saying? Cause look, with me, I always say there's always room for improvement. And she struck the nail on the head when she said, always be willing to learn. Learn. Always be willing to learn. Look, it don't cost you nothing but your time and your effort. That's all it costs. And it's gonna better you. You know, even in the failures, cause you didn't. When you fail, you succeed, cause you gave it a try. Now you know what not to do the next time. You feel what I'm
Wrote that
saying?
what was it
So,
one of our guest hosts last week said the success you see today was built by the failures of my life.
of my life, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying. So
Mhm.
you got to take the bitter and the sweet. It's it come full circle like that. But the thing that she got me the most was, because you hear me say it all the time, Nicole, is learning how to live within your means, even in the struggle.
Yeah.
Even in the struggle. You know what I'm
Especially
saying?
in the struggle.
There you
Especially,
go. See,
that's where we're
and
supposed to
that
be
create
learning a lesson in the struggle.
right,
Right.
right. And Tawana, and that's where the discipline comes in at. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
when you really invest in you. You know, and
Absolutely.
so when you said that, that just stirred me up even more. I'm like, okay, there's some more things I can do to better push some things along. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for them pearls, them nuggets, boy. Cause Nicole
Well,
tell you,
that's
I'm
why I'm
always
here.
taking notes. I'm
Yeah.
always taking notes.
Always. And so, Tawana, you know what? Being a full time entrepreneur, like we know that we're actually going to have a special airing actually on March 30th. And I'm going to invite you and some others to come back because we're really going to talk about the ugly, ugly side of entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
And when I say the ugly, ugly side, the stuff that people won't tell you, the stuff that they won't say that they, sometimes I'm losing sleep because the PayPal not going off and the Stripe not going off,
Mhm.
but the bills
Right.
are. They going off hard,
Mhm.
right? And you doing 2 days, you do today, you was due yesterday, this your 5 day late one, and here go your late fee. All of those things are still going to happen, whether the Stripe, the PayPal, or the deposits are coming. And it takes a special
Mhm.
kind of a lot of things, not just something, a lot of things to keep you going when those things don't happen anymore. Um, some time ago, our favorite course builder coach was holding a session, and one of her attendees, I will never ever forget the ladies, the way she sounded. She was off camera, she wasn't even showing her face, but her voice resonates in my head when she said, entrepreneurship is so lonely. And you could hear the pain in just the few words that she said. And so when I come across people like you, I'm like, holding on to them. I'm holding on to them because you gotta have a good round circle of people that will tell you what it is you need to hear, even when you don't want to hear it, but they're also layered in love so that you know that you are supported. But I'm still gonna give you that raw and uncut truth. I'm
Cause I
still
gotta
gonna give
come
you that
stern. I
raw and
gotta come
uncut
stern.
truth because if I sit here and be like, yeah, girl, yeah, knowing you about to fall in that pit over there, I'm not your friend. I don't care about you as a person, and let alone as someone I love. That's a lie. Okay.
Yep.
But let's talk
Well,
about
that's
go
that's
ahead.
the thing about friendships, right? Is that
Mm-hmm.
when you think about it, you have friends for different purposes, right? So you got your
Mm.
friends that's gonna go to the concerts. You got your friends that's gonna hype you up for certain things. You have different sets of friends, and so you can't hold the same expectation to every group of friends
Oh,
you have.
say that again.
So
Say
I
that
have
again for
my
the
business
lady.
besties.
Say that up. Say that again for the lady up in the
Yeah, you
top.
can't
Yeah.
hold them all to the same expectations. That's not going to work. That's not fair to them. And it's definitely going to frustrate you, right? So, my business besties, they're the ones I'm going to go to with my business struggles. I'm going to go to them with my wins. I'm going to go to them because I know that they're going to tell me what I need to hear in this space. My girlfriends that I grew up with, that I went to school with, like some of them are entrepreneurs, some of them are not, right? But their love for me is different.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, let's try it, let's do it. So if I want that, they're gonna be like, yeah. Well, my business best will be like, listen, that sounds like a good idea now, but that's not your strong suit. What are you doing?
Right.
Or if you're gonna do it, you
Mm.
need to do it like this, that, and the third. So it's not so much sometimes that people don't love you. That's where those love languages and all that kind of stuff comes in. Is that
Mhm.
they love you differently because of the relationships you
Yeah.
have with them. Like I got some
Mhm.
people that's gonna have my back whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. Whatever it is, they like I'm Team Twanna, right? No matter I'll tell you wrong later. We're gonna go handle this. We're gonna do whatever you said right now. But I got other friends. It's like, well, now hold on,
See, I got three sets
and you know who to
myself. I
call
got
to hype you up,
yeah.
or you know who to
I
call to
got
calm you down. You know which one.
Right, right, right. And I know who called Rumble.
there you go. Cause I got friends, my real friends. I got associates, you know, you know, and then I got them other folk.
Them folk I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
them
yeah,
people you
yeah.
just
Them
know.
folk that you don't
I
tell
think I
everybody
know.
about.
I think I know her name. Hey, girl.
Mm,
Hey. Yeah.
You might even know her name. You just know them over there.
Right. Oh,
mm-hmm.
way
And so
over
when
there.
you over there,
Oh,
They
over there.
good. They just don't come over here.
This over there.
Yeah.
Right. And it is. And sometimes the sad thing is that when you are an entrepreneur, sometimes you can blur the line. You can blur the lines. People can present themselves as the person that is for you and behind the scenes, because especially in a virtual world, we're in such a virtual world that you don't realize that when you're not looking, when you're not paying attention, that horn is coming up or that tail is coming up, and really what they're trying to see is what they can get out of you. Okay, so that type of environment does exist. Don't be oblivious to it. It does exist, but as you build, you will see and learn what signs to look for, right? As to who you can trust and what category you put people in. Just like you compartmentalize your business tasks, you do have to compartmentalize people. Okay, so I'm going to ask this one last question because I know I have seen some of the results of this. But when you are an entrepreneur full time in your business, there's some perks to it, right? There's some perks. See, like me,
Yes.
if I'm taking off tomorrow, I had to say, "Hey, I'm taking off tomorrow, and I need to use this kind of leave." But as an entrepreneur, God say it for me, Twanna. You report to who?
Me.
Ah,
Me. Like
ah.
somebody wanted me to file something against me. I said, what am I do? I'm just gonna put it in one file to the other. Like I don't.
Yeah.
But okay. But I will say this though. Like I move from this side of this to the next if you like. I
To the
mean,
net, right? Yeah, I
whatever make
think
you happy. But um you do still report to your clients though. And that's the thing,
Mhm.
right? So even though you can take any day off without any communication or whatever, if you want, if your clients are expecting you to be available or to, you know what I'm saying? Like you kind of have to put something out there. So like when I took, what was that, 5 weeks off, something, 3 weeks off, 3 weeks off, because I was supposed to
Forever,
take 6 weeks. When I took 3 weeks
forever,
off,
forever,
see what I'm saying? And I told
forever,
y'all like 3 months ahead of time that it was coming.
forever.
But when you are working with people, especially in what I do, so if you're working in a support role to other businesses, and what you are providing is feeding somebody else in some kind of way, you still have
Mm-hmm.
to communicate. You are still responsible to them because without clients, you have no business.
Right.
You back to that expensive hobby that I had with the bookstore.
Right.
So
Right.
the perk is I don't have to ask myself for the day off, but I still need to communicate. And that may mean that I have to pull the S out the closet the day before to show up as Superwoman so that I can have this time off. So,
Mm.
that's a part of that bad side, right? So people always talk about the good side, like, yeah, girl, I took the week off, I did all this stuff, but they didn't tell you they was up like nonstop for three days to make sure that they could take that week off.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know
So I
what?
would
That's
never
a
make it
level.
seem as though,
Go ahead.
yeah, I would never make it seem as though you don't have any responsibility to anybody else because you are
Right,
responsible to
absolutely.
your
But you
clients and
do have
customers.
some perks that you couldn't do if you were on the 9 to 5.
Yeah,
There's
that
definitely some
that
things
that
that
is
you
for
could not
sure.
do. There's some things
That is for
that you
sure.
could
So
not do on the 9 to 5. Like, and how does that fit in your life?
so I will tell you, I won't name the companies that I worked for, but I worked for a small business, and that's where I kind of learned entrepreneurship from just watching how they moved, right? But the contract that I was on was for one of the major companies globally. And I sat
Mhm.
on site with that company every day for 5 years, I think it was 4 or 5 years every day. So I was more inside of that company culture than I was with the company that actually paid me, which meant I had to
Okay.
dress a certain way. And this was before everybody said we could wear our natural hair, and it was all right. We
Right.
were still straightening our hair and all these other things to make people comfortable with how we show up.
Right.
So the first thing I was excited to do was like I could show up to this with my Adidas on if I want to, right? Or I could be dressed up, or I could wear, fancy hoops. I could dress up any kind of way I please, because it fits my brand. That was one of the first things I was excited about. It's like, wait, I'm in charge of the dress code around here. The dress
Right.
code fits me. Uh, or wait, I can, because the company was so rigid. So it's like you have to use this type of email font and this type of color and bland walls. And I was like, not doing any of that. I'm doing this with my
Oh no, because
emails.
Tawana's
I'm gonna
emails full
communicate
of
with people in this
emojis and
way.
happy faces and colors and
I do all kinds of stuff, but that's also to bring my personality into something that is
right.
very stuffy by nature with what I do. So it's kind of also to make sure that people know that I'm not this boring person that you would think of when you think of techie people. You're either thinking of a nerd or you think of somebody who's boring. I'm neither.
Right.
And so
Neither.
I want that to come through. I want uh, I want to represent in the best way possible, or I can talk about certain things in my business that I couldn't talk about in corporate America. I can have conversations about what it is like to be a Black or brown woman in the entrepreneur space, where you have to watch your tone about certain things in the corporate world. I don't have to do that. I can celebrate Black people all day, every day. I can show up unapologetically as me. And that is the biggest reward, is that I can just be me. Whoever that is, every day I can be her. Uh, and that is amazing. Besides that, I'm in
And
control of my bank account too. That
oh, come on
that that
now, come
that
on.
goes back to the money matters. I have to bring it
That
back to your
financial
topic, that I am in
freedom.
charge. I am in charge of how much money I make. There,
That's it. There's no
there's
cap.
nobody capping my salary but me.
Yes. The freedom of it all. And that's what I want people to understand. Our audience who's listening, those who are catching this on the replay, when you are an entrepreneur and doing your business as it is every day, and you're managing your money well, you're creating and using a budget, you get to do, honestly, whatever it is you want within the money that you make, right? Can Tawana make six figures in a year? She can.
She can.
What that company said, they were only paying her $62,000 a year. They weren't going to allow her to earn that $100,000 or more because that
Let
was
me tell you the
outside of
money of it
salary
all.
cap.
Let me tell you the money of it all. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was in corporate with the client that I worked for, they were called a time and materials client. So
Mm-hmm.
every hour I was on site with them, build them, whatever, right? If I worked over a certain amount of time, bill them time and a half. Now, my flat bill rate was $60 an hour. If I worked before 8, after 5, or anything over 40 hours, $90 an hour. I
Okay.
was salaried. Okay. So I'm already not seeing this when I work late, all this. I'm not getting any of that money. I'm billing for it, but I'm not getting it. And I've always liked numbers too. And so I said, self, when you look
Self.
at what they are paying you versus what they are charging, there's a problem there.
Mm.
Because if they
Mm.
charge 60 and I get 20, and I don't get anything from the 90 at all,
That arithmetic ain't
the
adding up.
math ain't mathing.
No, that ain't adding
It
up.
ain't.
Mm.
My
This
name ain't
doesn't work
Jeffro
for me. And
Bowden.
then I had a conversation. Yeah, I said, so excuse me.
I need to holler at you.
When I look at this, help me understand here what's happening.
Right.
They give me all the whole, oh, well, we got to pay for the people who aren't time and materials, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then when it's time for raises, then they're like little raises. But now, wait a second. if it wasn't for me and your main client,
Come
it
on
wouldn't
now.
be nobody else to pay because you wouldn't be getting this money without me, right?
Right. So in other
So
words,
that is a
if you
problem
weren't building
for
your
me.
dream, you were building theirs. And
Correct.
you're seeing $20 out of 60, and they're seeing 40, and they're not doing anything. In retro, they're not doing the activities that keep that client
Right.
to keep paying them.
Right. Because that's me. I'm in
That's
charge
me.
of your client experience, if you will. That's why I'm
Absolutely.
there. I'm doing the
Yeah.
work on your behalf. And so in my business, it doesn't work like that. That's why I at least pay myself
Mm,
50%. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, that third wasn't working for me. Not when I'm doing as much
mhm.
work. So as an
Right.
entrepreneur, you have the ability to say, well, this is how much I'm going to make today, or this is how much I'm going to make this month. Or I want to go on this trip and I need an extra 2 grand. Let me go sell something and get it. Whereas with the 9 to 5, you just kind of make it work what they gave you. Not
That's it.
necessarily a bad thing if the money works, but if it doesn't work, then what are you supposed to do?
Right. Exactly. Oh, Tawana, that was, that's excellent. That is excellent because too many people, especially women, are dealing with salary caps, income, and disparate treatment when it comes to salary. And they're being smarter and more educated and more qualified than their counterparts who are actually getting these promotions and these high earning salaries. For example, let me say, so my background is in law, and so here you have a judge who's making $400,000 a year. But if it wasn't for that paralegal, that legal assistant, that judicial assistant,
Mhm.
there are a lot of things that that judge would not be on top of without a good support team or a good support clerk, right? So
Mhm.
and unfortunately there is a gap there when it comes to the salaries. But as an entrepreneur, and this is what I tell women when I'm talking to them about working from home, you've got a gap. Working overtime is not going to always be an option. Getting a part time job creates its own expenses, whereas when you're at home doing something, it is a different type of experience, it's a different type of income. And literally, as a business owner, I have paid people 4, 5, 6, $8,000 in a month, whereas somebody who's monthly salary, it takes them 4, 5, 6 months to make that type of money. And as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a contract person, you get to decide how much you can make. And that in and of itself leads to a whole different line of freedom. And when we talk
Indeed.
about budgeting, I hear so many people say, I don't want a budget. I don't use a budget because it's too restrictive. If you don't have a budget, you don't have the financial freedom to do the things that you want, because a budget is a
If you
tool
don't
to
have a
tell you
budget, you
where
broke.
to go.
Just tell the people they broke. If
Hold
you don't,
on.
this is the thing.
Yeah, don't be trying to
Even if you have
sugarcoat it. Tell the
$5,
truth.
if you have $5,
Mm-hmm.
you got to know what you're gonna do with each of those dollars.
Thank
Come
you.
on now.
You have to have a plan for each of those dollars. Now you
Tell them
might
why.
budget to do the wrong thing with that money. Like you might do that. You might be like, well, I'm going to McDonald's or wherever. That's fine. But like you cannot. So I think people don't like putting stuff on paper. I think that's what it is. Mentally, they know I have $100 to spend a day. If I spend over $100 and I can pay my phone bill. People know these things. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want it to be on paper to say I can only spend $100 a day, even though mentally. So that's like just changing your mindset. But if you're out here just willy nilly, just I have no idea how much money I have. I have no idea how much money I'm about to spend. You're gonna always be broke. You're not gonna have no
And
money.
that and that is it. That's the word right there. So Tawana, I'm so excited for you to have
Yes.
been here with us tonight. I love chit chatting with you. I love kicking it with you. I love being able to get guidance and direction from you, because the
Oh,
one
thank
thing
you.
she does not do is play. She don't play with you. And when it comes to being able to help you impact your money, she's all about the business, right? She also did not come to play with you, okay? And she don't play with me. And she will knock in my inbox and in my email and make me I feel bullied. She be like, that's okay. Get over your feelings and let's get this work done.
Yeah,
So
we have things to do.
to want to tell the people, because I told you in the beginning, I said the empress of it all. I wasn't playing. See that whole little website right there? Empress.work. Tell
Empress
them
of it all.
how you can support them. Tell them how you can, especially speak to the budding or new entrepreneur.
The best way I can help new people is really through a conversation, right? Creating strategy. What I love to do is talk to people about the ideas they have in their head and help them make it make sense. We create a plan and we figure out how we're going to execute it. That is what I love. Now, I love the systems of it all and making everything be automated so that while you're out on these vacations, you're still getting discovery calls and all of those things. But in the beginning, or even as you move along, sometimes you just need somebody to talk it out with. That's me. You give me a
That's
call
her.
and we talk it out. And I have a couple different ways I work with people with that. So we can have a 1 hour, just pick my brain session. We record it, send it to you, look at it at your leisure. We could spend a couple of hours together, flesh it all out, create a plan, go off and do your thing. Or you get kind of Nicole special, where we kind of stay together for a while, and then you get these accountability calls to see if you're doing what you're supposed to do, a little tough love if necessary, so that
Yep.
you are
She
staying on track to do the things that you want to do. Um, as you mentioned earlier, people say that entrepreneurship is lonely, and that can be so, until you find the right people in your corner. And
yeah.
I tend to treat all of my clients like we're girlfriends, we're family. I take a personal interest in every business I work with. So it's not just a check for me. It's not just a number, because I don't do stuff that doesn't feel good to me anymore. Um, so that's how I support people. Really, is helping people get things out of their head into actionable plans that moves them from idea to implementation.
I love it. And this is someone that I absolutely, if you're looking to get into business, if you're in business and you don't know quite which way to go, Empress.work is where you need to start. Find her, contact me now, schedule appointment, whatever it is that's on that website. See, I just go to the okay. Y'all don't get that. Y'all don't get that. And don't be looking for it either. Don't be in my inbox trying to find out how you can be special like me. There's only one me. Tony,
Right.
DJ
Sure. A whole
Tony, as
nother level.
always, he's showing up for us and all the on-air personalities, and I absolutely love him for it. DJ Tony is the eye of the storm, and he broadcasts live here on KCCR Radio, home of the Sears Tower. I love it when that says that. I love it. They're my hometown. DJ Tony, what's your closing words for tonight?
Once again, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to be on this platform with you two dynamic queens, man. I'm still so excited for the rest of this month. It's Ladies Month, so I'm tapping into my female intuition side. You know what I'm saying? Empress, thank you so much. I told you, you just gave me some motivation, and that's what I love. I
Good.
love to get motivation, because that little spark that you gave me, I'm gonna turn it into a flame. And once I turn it into a flame,
Okay,
I'm
because
gonna
I'm gonna
share
follow
that
up.
campfire. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna share
Okay,
that
I'm gonna
campfire
follow up and
cause
see what you're doing.
okay, hey, trust me, it's gonna be okay. Trust me. But listen, Nicole, keep doing what you're doing. Empress work. Ooh, boy, Lord knows I needed to hear all of this here tonight. For all my entrepreneurs out there that's thinking about jumping off into this venture, come on. Can't nobody live your dream but you. And if
Oh,
you ain't willing to pursue it, can't nobody do it. Cause we all we got.
amen. Amen. I love it, Tony. I
Amen
love
to
it.
that.
And Tawana, I could spend the next 20, 30 minutes, days, whatever it is, talking about your love and support for me as an entrepreneur. And then it goes beyond that. So as you are building and supporting people, you do become family, and that is so important as an entrepreneur. But a lot of times when we watch that ratchet TV, we like, man, I just want to see it on TV. It's not really the life I want to live. So it's not what I
You don't
want to
want to
live
do
and
for real.
experience. So I really appreciate you coming on with us tonight. I A lot of the ladies that I have brought on and will bring on have been some kind of first in my life as far as impact in my business, and I can honestly say you have been my first virtual assistant. So,
Oh,
and that
look
just
at
started.
that.
Listen, we started over here in the left, and then we then kept right on rolling. So, and your support and your work is very vital to what I do. And listen, we just keep getting better with time. I'm gonna really learn that Asana before it's all over, y'all. I'm just telling you, she be Asanaing me to death, and I be like, okay, but listen.
It's not that
I
bad. It's
Yeah,
just a
it's not that
spreadsheet.
bad. You see, she the tech part. That's I'm not techie. I'm not techie. But and then so I have to have a tech person in my corner. So you guys listen. Thank you so much for joining me for a special episode of Girl Your Money Matters, where we broadcast normally on Mondays, but during the month of March, we're doing Mondays and Thursdays. And I'm here to continue highlighting our Black women who are doing their thing, living their best life as a result of better money management and budgeting and living the life that I tell you guys you can live. So I'm giving you some flat out examples. So I will see you back here on Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I will tell you about our upcoming guests. But you just gonna have to show up to blow up. All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night.